Hey you guys, what's up? It's RockyDust54 here, and welcome to my list of the worst films of 2018. Now, I'm calling it the worst films of 2018 and not the top 10 worst films of 2018 because I actually didn't see enough bad movies this year to make a top 10. So I'm just calling it the worst films of 2018. There's actually only 9 films on this whole list, so there's no dishonorable mentions. We're just going to get right into the list. So number 9 is Mom and Dad. Now this is a film I was somewhat looking forward to. I know the guy that directed this also directed Crank, which I've heard is a very good movie. And the story alone just intrigued me. I mean, it's about parents that get an uncontrollable urge to just kill their kids. Like, that sounds awesome to me. But unfortunately, I just felt it wasn't executed as well as it could have been. Don't get me wrong, like the really crazy elements of it were there, just not as much as I would have liked. Like the last half hour does pick up, and there's actually some pretty good dramatic moments and character arcs, but unfortunately all of that wasn't enough to make up for the whole film. So, yep, Mom and Dad's at my number 9 pick. And number 8 is 50 Shades Freed. Now, I was actually looking forward to this one too. The first film, in my opinion, is a guilty pleasure. I really enjoy watching it. And the second film, I actually really liked on a serious level. So I was actually really excited for the third movie. And a funny story, I was going to see this in the theater with Nathan and Christian. And my mom was coming with me too because she was going to see The Greatest Showman while we saw 50 Shades Freed. And yeah, we got turned away because my mom wasn't seeing the movie with us because it was rated 18A where I live. And my mom's like, well, I'm here and I'm giving him permission. Isn't that enough? And the manager's like, no, you have to see the movie with them. So I ended up seeing The Greatest Showman instead. I was really mad in the moment, but The Greatest Showman ended up being a really damn good movie. And after seeing this, I was like, I'm very grateful for this whole experience overall. But anyway, 50 Shades Freed, First things first, they filmed 50 Shades Darker and 50 Shades Freed back to back. And this is the third time Universal has done this. First with Back to the Future, and then again with Chucky. And then the third time was obviously with 50 Shades. The third one, as a result, just feels very rushed. Like, it seemed like they put all their energy into making the second one, which in my opinion was really, really good. And just the third one just felt very, very rushed, and it felt way too short. Like, the pacing, like, felt like it went by way too quickly. It seemed like there was too much material to fit into a 105-minute movie, because this is the shortest of the three. And, like, you know, some of the other elements I would have liked to have seen explored, like the action elements and, like, some other, like, story choices I would have liked to see more of. But like, because of the short runtime of the film, I wasn't able to see that, and even the unrated version was only 5 minutes longer. And yeah, not to mention the music choices. Like, don't get me wrong, I love pop music. It's one of my favorite genres of music. Well, actually, I don't love it. I like it. And I love music in a film. Like, that's one of the things I sometimes look for most in a movie. And the highlights of all three of these movies are the soundtracks, because they go so well with the tone of the film. And they did with this one. But they just put them in too much. Like, they played one pop song with, like, every sex scene. So, and there was a lot of them in this movie. So it's like, you know, you just get into, like, one scene, and then they're like driving all across town, and then they do it in a parking lot, and then there's another song that cues in, and I'm just like, you know, I'm all for music in movies, but they just did it too often here, because they did it with like every scene. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed by this one, which was sad, because I really liked the second one, but this one just overall felt like a rushed product. But one thing that was really cool was, if you remember the scene where Christian and Anna, like if you've seen the movie, where Christian and Anna drive to like that broken down house that he said he bought for them, and it's like with his real estate agent, the road they drive on they filmed that about half an hour from where I live, and my friend's girlfriend's mom actually worked on the movie directing traffic, so I thought that was really cool. Number 7 is The Week of. Now, I really, really like Adam Sandler's movies. Even what most people to be considered. Number 7 is The Week of. Now, I love Adam Sandler. Even what most people consider to be his worst movies, I still really like. And I was looking forward to this one. The story sounded really funny. But I don't even know what this movie was. It was like it's like it wanted to be a comedy, but it just didn't even try. Like it's almost like they had ideas for funny moments that they put in there, and they just didn't go as far with them as they could have, because this movie really was not all that funny. And it just felt weird. Like you could tell it wanted to be a comedy, but it's almost like they just didn't try it. I don't even remember a lot from my whenever I make my worst lists, I always struggle to remember stuff about them, because when movies are bad, you tend to remember them less. But yeah, that was just all I remember about this movie. It felt weird for an Adam Sandler movie, and Sandy Wexler kind of felt like that too. But yeah, hopefully Adam Sandler's next movie that comes out, which is I think with Jennifer Aniston, and they are framed for a crime they didn't commit. That sounds really good, and I can't wait to see that. Hopefully in the new year. I think that's when it's supposed to come out. Number 6 is, coincidentally, Six Balloons. Yeah, there's quite a few Netflix original films on this list. So I saw this on Netflix listed one day, and I was like, oh, this is a pretty short movie, and the plot sounds pretty interesting, so I'm gonna check this out. And its runtime kind of crippled it. I think it was only an hour and 15 minutes. I feel like if they made the movie longer, because if you look at a movie like Good Time, that movie was it was longer than this, and while it could have even that could have maybe been longer, they did what they wanted to do in the amount of time they ended up having. But in this movie, the story and because you have time to introduce your characters, and by the time you already did that in this movie, you kind of had a limited amount of time for conflict. In this movie, there's quite a bit of conflict, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I just felt with maybe a little more time and just more writing, because as I said, the movie's short. I just think its runtime kind of crippled it. One of the shining moments of it though was Dave Franco's performance. I thought he was really good in this movie. He played a junkie very, very well. But as I said, just the main problem with this movie was that it was just too short, and there just wasn't enough conflict in it, for this type of movie. Number 5. Oh boy, I don't even know why I really even had hope for this movie. I don't even know if I even did have hope for it. I know it got bad reviews. I just wanted to see a movie made of this, a studio, a big studio movie made of this for so long. I'll just tell you what it is. Number 5 is Slender Man. I really, really wanted this to be good. And thing is, Slender Man is such an easy character to make work. Just look at Marble Hornet's YouTube videos. Slender Man is such an easy character to make work. When you've screwed that up, then you've messed up bad. This movie is just your typical teenage horror movie. It's filled with jump scares. They don't do enough with Slender Man that they could have. And the movie's laughable at so many moments. I might play a clip on the screen here of something I just found actually hilarious. And just the movie did not work well. I heard apparently they were going to make it rated R and then it had to be cut down to PG-13 standards. I mean, I'm not the type of person who thinks everything should be rated R, but like I think like with Slender Man, I think you could do it justice with it being rated R, but I think like with PG-13 horror, you can accomplish a lot. Like just look at stuff like The Visit and Split. Movies like that, you can really accomplish a lot with PG-13 rated horror. Happy Death Day is another example. But with this movie, they didn't go nearly as hard as they could have. I mean, with some of the content, like the slumber party in the beginning, they say some kind of crude stuff I didn't think you could get away with in a PG-13 movie. But I mean like more the horror elements, not the comedy of it. Like, this is just your standard typical horror movie with nothing but jump scares and an ending that just... I don't even remember entirely what the ending was. I think I might even be confusing the ending with my number one pick. Actually, yeah, I think I am, so I'm not going to say what it is, but... Yeah, it just wasn't a good movie. Just a typical horror movie that doesn't take any risks, doesn't do anything to make it stand out. And it's really sad, because I've been wanting to see, like, a big studio movie made of this character for a long time, and I was unfortunately really disappointed by it. Number 4 is Batman Gotham by Gaslight. I don't even remember much from this movie. I just remember it being boring. The animation was fine. Sometimes it looked a little bit choppy and unfinished. Sorry, Nathan, for stealing that from your Letterboxd review. But... like, for the most part, I thought the animation was fine, because I really like, the Scooby-Doo movies, like the animated Scooby-Doo movies, so, like, I grew up with those, so that's why, like, I've kind of had a soft spot for Warner Brothers animation. I mean, at times it felt choppy and unfinished, as I said, but, like, that was the main thing I just even remember about this movie. Like, I honestly don't remember much. I saw it way closer to the beginning of the year. I just don't even remember much from it. I just remember it being pretty boring. Number 3. Okay, and now we're really starting to get into the ones that are really, really bad. I mean, movies like Slender Man, I could watch Slender Man again. These I don't think I could deal with a second time. Number 3 is... and like with Slender Man, it saddens me to say that this is on my list too. Number 3 is the Cloverfield Paradox. I remember when this came out, I was baffled. Like, I just went onto Netflix randomly on the day of the Super Bowl, and I was like, wait, what? I was like, the Cloverfield Paradox? I was like, is this the third Cloverfield movie that they've been talking about? And I checked who the director was, and I was like, it is the same movie! What the hell? So... I was really, really excited for it, and I think at the time the movie hadn't officially come out. It was like after the Super Bowl, so I watched it that night, because I was really excited for the third Cloverfield movie. I love Cloverfield, and I love 10 Cloverfield Lane, so I was really excited for this movie. And it was not good. No, it just seemed like, as I said, I don't even remember much from this one either. The one thing I remember was that the visuals, some of them looked fine, others looked like garbage. Not like, the visuals were not Alien Covenant bad, but some of them were pretty bad. The one thing I will give it, though, is its ending was awesome. I loved the ending to this movie, but I did not like most of the actual movie. And some of the stuff was just ridiculous. Like, I might even play this on the screen too. There's one line that John Gallagher Jr., I think that was him. Like, there's one line that one character says that it's like, why would you put that in a Cloverfield movie? Like, if you've seen the first two, you know that they are not movies that have, like, any source of humor in them at all. They put just ridiculous lines in this movie that just make no sense. And like moments where they're like in extreme peril, like the one I might play on the screen, where somebody just says something trying to be funny and it's just weird. Like, this movie was just... I don't know. I think I heard something that like they just slapped the Cloverfield name on it right at the end. I might be wrong about that, so don't quote me on it, but if they make another Cloverfield movie, I hope it ends up being better than this. And you know, it's sad because it's another one of those movies that sadly the best part about it was its marketing. Number two is The Open House. I like Dylan Minnette as an actor. I do like him. I liked him in Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. From the 2 episodes of 13 Reasons Why that I've seen, I've liked him in that. And you know, some other stuff that I've seen him in, I've liked. This movie was flat out bad. Like with Slender Man, it's just your typical horror movie with nothing but jump scares. There was one really cool like plot twist. Well, not plot twist, but kind of like a reveal, like a character reveal that they put in that I really liked. But and without spoiling it, I from what I remember, they just completely ruined it. Um and I will give it this. It did have cool cinematography and a good score that really set the mood of the movie. But yeah, it was just a typical bad horror movie that took no risks, did nothing to make it stand out. It just wasn't good. And now for my number one pick of the worst film of 2018. The Strangers Pray at Night. At least I wasn't infuriated by the previous 8 films I mentioned. This movie made me so angry watching it. The acting was horrible by everybody. There was no one in this movie who really did a good job at this. Like, the acting from the dad during an intense scene felt like me trying my absolute hardest in drama class. And not only that, like, again, it also, like, relies on jump scares, and even what most people thought was the coolest scene in the movie, the pool scene, I didn't even hugely care for that scene. I thought it was mildly entertaining at best. There was not a single redeemable quality about this entire film. Like, I was baffled at how bad this movie was. I knew it got bad reviews. Keep in mind, though, guys, I haven't seen the first Strangers. I don't know if I'm missing something. I might be. But, man, and the characters themselves just pissed me off to no end. Whenever they were confronted with anything that could save them, all basic human logic just flew out the window. Not only that, there's also a scene where the mom character calls the police, like, or closer to the beginning, and she actually gets through, but then the phone gets destroyed. I know from personal experience that if you place a call into the police, they have to trace every call they get. So why the hell didn't the police show up? Not to mention the ending was horrible. The reveal, like there's a point at the end where somebody goes, "Why are you doing this?" And the reason that they give is so stupid. Like, it gets me riled up just thinking about it because it's just a giant middle finger to the audience, and oh god, this movie was bad. I'm just gonna stop talking about The Strangers Pray at Night now. Alright, but anyway, guys, this is a long video. I apologize for that, but that is my list of my picks for the worst films of 2018. Let me know what you guys thought of my picks, and let me know what your guys' picks for the worst films of 2018 are. Stay tuned for my best of the year list, which is going to be coming soon. Hopefully up on New Year's Eve. I'm gonna be filming my best films of the year list right after this. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for my best of the year list. Subscribe for more content. And remember, you guys, whenever putting yourself through extreme torture to make a YouTube list, say no to drugs.